You are constantly creating your life, whether you realize it or not. Your thoughts are not harmless, they are instructions. Reality begins in thought before it appears in form. Everything in your life, it existed first as energy, as a thought and imagination before it became physical. Your fears, your expectations, your beliefs, they're broadcasting signals every day. My name's Mark, aka Create Lifestyle. I help people, especially those over 50, break out of outdated beliefs so they can create freedom, abundance, peace of mind, residual income, and leave a powerful legacy. I call it breaking out of the matrix. And hey, if you're under 50, I'm talking to you too, because we can save you decades potentially off of your development and realization of your goals. So today I'm talking about creative visualization, manifestation, and I'm going to be going a little deep on how our thoughts shape our reality. There was a gentleman that his whole life's work, his name was Earl Nightingale, and his entire life's work pointed to one thing, and that thing was you become what you think about. So our thoughts are very powerful, and a lot of times we just let our minds wander all over the place and we just let all kind of programming air quotes programming just overtake us, and we have to realize what is going on, what we're working with, and then we can begin to make some changes. We're constantly being programmed, so we have to guard against that. In the Bible is a scripture that says, guard your heart with all due diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life. And your heart, basically, in that example, is your mind. So we have to guard these things. And our reality, basically, and scientists are catching up with this, and sages and mystics, they've known this for thousands of years, that our reality is malleable and that it is made up of particles. And it's basically energy. And if you were to zoom all the way in on any solid material, on anything, zoom in on yourself, zoom in on this desk that I'm sitting at, on this computer, if you were to zoom in with a powerful microscope, you would break it all the way down to the particles. And then you would see that there is more space between the particles than there is solid material. And you realize that everything is made up of energy. Nikola Tesla, or either Einstein, one of the two, they said if you want, I think it was Nikola Tesla, he said that if you want to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of energy and vibration. Understand that everything vibrates. Everything is energy. It all starts with thoughts. Your body, your emotions, your environment, everything is vibrating energy. What appears to be solid is actually moving at different frequencies. So your thoughts is creative energy. Your thought, it's fast moving energy. Everything that's created was existing mentally first. Your house, a business, a relationship, your lifestyle, everything begins with an idea. And that's my brand right there, Create Lifestyle. That's ultimately what we are doing here. But so it all begins with an idea. Understand that your thoughts and your feelings are all magnetic and they carry an energetic frequency. So whatever you think about the most emotionally will attach to you. Everything that you vividly imagine, you will begin attracting to yourself. I remember I wanted to get a car, and I went to a business conference, and they were giving all these cars away to these top performers. They had about 20 cars that they gave out to these top performers. It was incredible. Anyway, I took a picture next to one. It was a Maserati is what it was. At the time, I didn't even know what a Maserati was. I heard of it, but I don't think I had ever seen one. But the car was gorgeous, and I was just kind of drawn to it. And I took a picture of the car. It was this beautiful color, and I didn't even know the name of the color. Anyway, some years later, not many, maybe 3 or 4 years later, it was time for me to go get a car. I was excited. I'm going to go get a car. I had this car all picked out in my mind and everything. I was going to go get it. I saw the price. I said, this is what I wanted. So I went to the dealership. They did the old bait and switch, and I fell for it. They said, hey, that car that you wanted is that we had advertised. It's not available. But hey, stay right here. I got something for you. So the salesperson, he goes and he pulls up with this beautiful car, and it was that color of that Maserati. Now this car wasn't a Maserati, but it was the same exact color. It was called Aegean Blue, and I was hooked. I said, I want it. I gotta have it. So that was my thoughts in action right there. Now, creative visualization, it's more than positive thinking. It's not fake positivity. It's rewiring your subconscious identity. So you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So what we have to do is start identifying these limiting beliefs, these unconscious fears, scarcity programming. We have to begin to look at all these things. So this is actually the manifestation. It starts internally, and then your imagination creates a blueprint, and then your subconscious mind organizes the reality around you. This is the law of attraction in radiation, in action. The law of attraction in action. Yeah, that's what it is. So whatever you radiate, it returns back to you. If you operate from anxiety, insecurity, and fear, that's going to mirror back to you. If you operate from gratitude, confidence, and expectancy, that's going to mirror back to you. So this is how we begin to break out of this matrix and escape the matrix. If I'm making sense to you, share, follow, subscribe, and just understand that your unconscious thought patterns is what's creating your reality. So stop feeding the fear, stop focusing on lack, start reacting emotionally, begin intensely visualizing, emotionally aligning, and consciously creating. One of the greatest things you can do for yourself, if you're like, so Mark, how do I even begin to do all of this? One of the things you can do is to begin to cultivate gratitude. And you can do this by creating a gratitude journal. Just when you wake up in the morning, write down 5-10 things that you're grateful for. Simple things. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful to have food in the refrigerator. I'm grateful for my partner. I'm grateful for clean clothes. Just on and on. Just write simple things. And what happens is you're going to start to radiate this gratitude energy. And he who has more of what he has shall be given to him. And he who has not, even what he has, shall be taken away. There are scholars that believe that particular scripture is referring specifically to gratitude. So he who has more gratitude, more things will be given to him. And I've seen that happen in my life. And what gratitude also has done for me is to get me to stop thinking about problems and start thinking about solutions. So understand that you're creating your own reality. Create lifestyle. It's my brand. Your thoughts and your emotions are energetic instructions. What you repeatedly imagine and believe becomes your experience. And if you live long enough, you've probably seen this. You're going to agree with me. But if you haven't quite yet, just take my word for it. When you focus intentionally, visualize clearly, and emotionally align with abundance, your reality will begin to organize around you. like I always say, the only way out is in. Peace, one love, and control your destiny.